Many people have divided thoughts on Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, but what about the novelization? I've already talked about the film. Go check out my review if you haven't yet already for the film, but as I said earlier, what do I think of the novelization? I'm John Barry, and today I'm reviewing the novelization of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by Rae Carson. I got the book right here for reference, and what about the book? Well, the book is better than the movie. Now, that is often true when a book is made into a movie, but that is not always true when a movie is made into a book. There's many reasons for that. Often, whatever does come first typically is the best. But one clear thing about books is that books nearly all the time can feature internal character thought, while movies don't always get that opportunity. Now, some movies can, but in a blockbuster action film, yeah, to do that would be a bit jarring. But in other films, not so much. Now, for a lot of the Star Wars novelizations of the film, the novelizations don't necessarily, they add context, but they're not necessarily better than the film. But I think in this case, the book is better than the film. And mainly because of the ability to give internal character thoughts. So, the reason why I think that ability really does help the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker to go beyond the film and be better is because we actually get more with Leia. Now, the film did what it could because JJ only had access to so much footage that was shot for The Force Awakens with Carrie Fisher. So there was some limitations put on there. And so other characters, context needed to be established for Leia's small role. And of course another thing that the book does is explain why Leia has so few dialogue. And that is because she is physically and emotionally tired. Because let's remember, she was exposed to the vacuum of space in the previous film, and that takes a toll on somebody. And we do see that in here. And I could go on and on about how the ability to see into character thoughts really does improve, but it honestly does. Nearly every single character, it does do that. And of course there's a few added scenes in the novelization to that I think does. That it somehow helps more, like, there's a bit more expansion between the first conversation between Kylo and Palpatine. We get a little bit more of Palpatine's inner thoughts, though I wish we got some of Palpatine's inner thoughts, not too much, and I kind of wish we had gotten more, because I find Palpatine to be a very Shakespearean style of villain, he likes that kind of stuff, and tries to kind of go that way in a sense. I'm not quite sure what I'm kind of saying, but I would have loved some internal monologue of Palpatine that's written in a very Shakespearean fashion. In Star Wars, from a certain point of view, we actually get the point of view of Palpatine during the events of A New Hope, and it actually is written in a very Shakespearean manner. And I really do appreciate that, because that really helps establish his character. I wish Rae Carson had done that in here with Palpatine's internal thoughts, but what we do get is sufficient, even though it's not in that style. And that style might be actually jarring to the reader, who is expecting to read one consistent book told by one author. So yes, it does make sense. We also get some more thoughts from General Hux as well, and all that, but there's one scene in particular that, if they had included it in the movie, I think it would have really helped the movie. Now, the scene I'm talking about is Kylo's interrogation of Chewbacca. In the book, it's a very emotional scene, and it basically will involve a bunch of flashbacks to Ben growing up, the happy moments. And then there's also some more recent moments too, including the death of Han Solo. So he would have to relive that again, besides his third reliving of it later, or his third reliving on it. So he does experience that again for a second time, but then a third time where he actually makes the right decision. But basically being able to see it through Chewbacca's eyes, I think that would have been so great to actually see that scene fleshed out. Now, it may have been a bit too much for some younger audiences, but the film's rated PG-13 anyhow, so we gotta keep that as a factor, if you will. But that really is an emotional scene. And of course, there's a couple other things, like with the Battle of Exegol, when the civilian fleet shows up, we get a bit more context actually into what is going on. In fact, the book's Battle of Exegol, I would say, is greatly better than what we get in the film. Mainly because we get more callbacks, such as, like in chapter 18, and I quote, "Poe watched in horror as raw power shot up from the planet like a massive geyser, devouring everything in its path. Several fighters were suddenly air-drift, their controls no longer responding. The Tantive V4 trembled as if fighting a tractor beam. It listed to the side and began to drop. Poe wanted to look away. Leia's ship. He clenched his jaw and stared anyway. He would bear witness to this. The trembling intensified. One of the engines detonated. Explosions spread out along the hull, and suddenly the Tantive V4 was dropping like a meteor past the Final Order fleet and out of sight. Poe had just lost a lot of friends. He'd known 9-Up his whole life." Unquote. Like, man, like, watching the Tantive V4 go down in the film, like, was that the Tantive V4? Is it going down? Is it gone? But here, it's no doubt. It's very much more emotionally impactful. Probably because, calling out to the characters' names, while it is still only through Poe's eyes, but we're feeling, but he is us in this situation, an outside observer, but he actually knows the full context, and it's just a more impactful and emotional scene. And also, I just gotta say, I love using the term "it listed to its side," because that is so much more of a naval seafaring term. Like, in space, okay, sure it can, how can it list when there's no up and down? Granted, they are in an atmosphere, so maybe some Air Force terms might be more appropriate, but I do like bring in that naval terminology for the listing of a ship, for a ship that is about to go down and capsize. It is just an excellent term. And then another scene I wanted to talk about that really I think helps add a lot of context to the battle is actually from the previous chapter, but it's about when the civilian fleet arrives. We get call-outs from characters we would know. So, like, one of them, I'm literally just going to quote you the specific sections. Of course, you have Lando arrives and, of course, he says, "Millennium Falcon standing by for orders." Very simple, but then we get a Mon Calamari fleet standing by. So we get the entire Mon Calamari fleet there. And I think that does good to establish that all those big capture ships are from a specific planet's own fleet, which for the Mon Calamari really does make sense. We also get this Phantom Squadron standing by as another one of those lines the book includes. We got really none of the things that people calling out. You might remember Phantom Squadron from the Aftermath trilogy, and then they also appeared in Resistance Reborn, part of them, and one of their descendants, I think, too. But like this squad that of misfits that basically Wedge formed while he was basically on medical leave, and one of them was Snap, who is also in here. Granted, he might have been killed at that point, but I gotta look at that scene later when we'll get to that scene, how the book portrays it compared to the film. But another thing is we get Ghost standing by, so the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels. Now, is Harrison Dula piloting it, or is her son the one piloting it? I don't know, but I do like that callback to that one specific ship. Even though we do see it, just to have it mentioned, like, just to, basically these sections of lines I'm sharing would have been so much to help improve. Then of course we get a couple of those. I don't know if I'm supposed to recognize Anodyne Chew. Don't know, but then we get Alphabet Chew standing by. So obviously one of the characters from Alphabet Squadron is obviously still flying at this time, so that's neat. And then of course we get a call out to the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign with Zay Versio calling out. She literally says Zay Versio with Thunder Squad standing by and comments look at all these ships, because she is kind of a younger daughter at this point, so that is kind of nice to help with her, with a little bit of her character. But just that one thing there is just so great. And then of course we get a shout out to Resistance. No, we get Firebar Hill. Hi everyone. That just sounds like something Cass would say, but the deep voice response, cut out the cat. Cut out the chatter, Cass, which is obviously Yigu. And of course we did learn in, I think, an episode of the Star Wars show that those ships were modeled, the Fireball and Yigu's ship. But it's nice that that it's definitively included in the novelization that they were here. Like this scene, there's probably way more things that that could have been called out, but the fact that they just had this included in the book really does help the scene. Establishes characters we're familiar with. Establishes, why there are so many big ships. We got an entire fleet there. It's just great. And then of course they do mention Wedge as well, pretty much in the same role that he had in the book, or in the film itself. So I have briefly mentioned Snap a little bit earlier, and how does his death in the film compared to how it was portrayed in the book? And actually it does great. It's mostly the same, I gotta be honest, not too much impactful, but it's the book includes one thing I never saw in the film. It included that basically right before Snap died, his last word was the whisper, the name of his wife, Kare. And that was like the last thing. And that makes his death way more impactful or emotional, that if you don't know that, if you never read a Poe Dameron comic or don't talk with people who have in jail, then you wouldn't know that Snap got married. You just wouldn't know that. Actually, you would know if you read Resistance Reborn as well. But here it doesn't. Earlier they mentioned that, Snap was married to Kare. And so that is a very nice thing. But here it just adds that one little touch, that personal touch that really makes it that much emotional. When you realize not only is he leaving somebody behind that he loves, but his last thoughts were about the person he loves, which is just great. Still, I wish they included a scene about, Wedge responding and all that, because I think that would have really helped some of the emotional stakes in a little bit. But yeah, overall, the book does a much better job than the film. Again, that ability to do things that that film simply can't is what really actually helps the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker to be such a good novelization. And actually, another thing just to kind of talk about the scene between Lando and Jaina. If you read in the visual dictionary, which I still have somewhere because I can't go back to the library to return it. But anyhow, is that we get more context on that scene. Some people were speculating, maybe Jaina's Lando's daughter, but that is definitively put to rest in the novelization. And it does confirm that basically Lando sees somebody who has the same situation as his daughter, and he finds a new purpose in his life to help those who were all stolen from their families, either to find someplace to belong or to even potentially find their families again. And if he was lucky, maybe he could find his own daughter again. And it just does so much more. Now, the book does actually kind of confirm my interpretation of that scene, but it does help establish the context, and we also learn that Lando's ship is the Lady Luck. I could quote the book, but I think I communicated, but I do really like how they did it. And of course there's another thing too, that they, if you remember, after when they show basically the First Order Star Destroyers that basically listing and going down, we actually get more context from one in particular. Specifically when we were shown the shot of Endo and a Ewok that looks a lot like Wicket. And well, it is Wicket. And apparently he's looking from the exact same spot he was at when he was rejoicing in the destruction of the second Death Star. Oh, the one Death Star, and probably in the Ewoks' minds. But that's just neat. And apparently Wicket's with his son. Oh, so cute. And then of course, Wicket and his son, Palmer, basically figure that Princess Leia and C-3PO were responsible for the destruction of the First Order, which is just so cute. And like, Wicket literally thinks to himself, and I quote, "He had no doubt the golden godlike one was responsible for yet another deliverance," unquote. And basically thinking of CPO. That is just, some people, I think, criticize that scene, and I wish we had more of those scenes scattered in at the end, but I do like how this very much expanded on it, and we kind of learned how, basically, what the Ewoks still think of the Rebels. They still have good, positive views. And there's so much also I can go talking about in my review, especially about the ending. But yeah, I could go on and on and on. But the end does confirm that basically pretty much, well, not pretty much, but that Luke and Leia did give Rey permission, as with the Force Ghost, of course, to adopt the surname Skywalker. Which again, I still think is very important. She adopts the family. She found the belonging she has sought the entire time. Not with her biological family, but with her found family, which she values way more than her actual family. Because let's be real, she was thrown a massive curveball in here. And some people criticize that JJ ignored what Rian Johnson did in the Rise of Skywalker, but I don't think so based on my viewing of the film multiple times and also by reading the novelization, which very much confirms that basically, okay, you had this experience, but now, what if we saw the ultimate curveball at you? You always wanted a family, now you're learning to accept that your family doesn't need to be important, but what if your family is so important, but also not the family you wanted at all? And so Rey basically has, the entire sequel trilogy tells of Rey finding her identity, which she does at the end of the film. And she's thrown numerous curveballs along the way. And then of course it's confirmed that Ben, I should say, didn't lie to Rey. He just didn't know the entire truth, just like Rey didn't know the entire truth. Which is, I would say, pretty significant and important. There's a couple of things that I wish that the film and the novelization had done differently, whether it been include something or rewrite a certain scene, but overall, I would say the novelization is better than the film. And that's coming from somebody who greatly enjoys both. If you didn't like the film, I don't know if the novelization will improve your opinion on the film at all. But maybe if your public library has it, maybe check out the novelization and give it a read, or maybe if they have the audiobook at your public library, do that as well. That might help you, give you more context and experiences in a different medium. That might help, I don't know. But if you enjoyed the film, I think you will enjoy the novelization. And if you enjoyed the film but did admit to its flaws, you definitely will enjoy the novelization. And again, that's because the novelization does what the film cannot do. Get into characters' heads. Which is a big thing novels can do that not every film can. I know I said that earlier, but I think it's important to reiterate. Now, we can go talking a lot more about the novelization itself, Rae Carson's writing, which is excellent, and all that. But really, when you're reviewing a novelization, it is important to review it in the context of the film itself. And I gotta say, This is probably the best pairing of film and novelization that I've experienced in a good long time. It's like, I vaguely remember the Force Awakens novelization and the Last Jedi novelization. Again, those don't stick out in my head as much, but here, yeah, this is probably the perfect movie and novelization pair out there, and I don't know any other way to state it. Now, should I give the novelization a ranking? Yeah, why not? 5 stars, done. Okay, now 4.5. There has some things they could improve upon. Some things are a limitation with the story. Because it is a novelization, it cannot deviate too much from the original story. It can't retcon anything, is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, there you have it. My thoughts on the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker. But what are your thoughts? I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section down below. So thank you for watching my video. If you have not yet done so, please like the video or dislike it if you prefer. Also, feel free to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description, as well as all the links for my Discord server if you would like to join, or my Patreon page if you would like to help support my channel. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so already, and ring the bell so you can be notified of when my next Star Wars content comes out. Also, be sure to check out the video or the playlist on screen now. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.